up the Pac-12. So let's turn our attention to that Northwestern job. All assistants are going to be retained, according to multiple reports, as they move forward with the 2023 season. I am honestly a little bit more interested in 2024, unless you believe that someone's going to come in and take that job right now for this fall and maybe have a chance to continue in that job as the Wildcats move on into the future.
I don't know, like a coaching search would interfere with the vacations.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't want to bother them.
Wouldn't want to bother them with that. Because like Dennis Dodd mentioned that Paul Chryst is currently an analyst at Texas. Mm-hmm. And Paul Chryst has been mentioned as somebody who would be, maybe a sensible selection to lead them. If I was Paul Chryst, I would not leave right now, and I would not try to go take this. So what kind of candidate or names or who are you thinking of in terms of where Northwestern might turn for the future of its football program?
There's a couple assistants of teams we just talked about, I think, could be in play here down the line.
Like who?
Ken Niumatalolo at Northwestern, I think, could be somebody who fits. I think Jeff Monken, he's not an assistant, but I think Northwestern is a team that, considering the new landscape, could consider going option and maybe wouldn't hate it.
I knew he was going to make the case for that.
But I had to. Other options are the offensive coordinator at Colorado, who's got plenty of experience in the Midwest from his time as a head coach at Kent State. Maybe this will finally end up being the Big Ten job he ends up getting. And another offensive coordinator who is in the SEC now, who is from Lake Forest, Illinois, not too far from where I am now, and not too far from the campus in Evanston, a young man named Tommy Rees. These are some names I think could be mentioned for this job in the future.
I would go a little bit bigger and more proven. Dave Clawson and Lance Leipold, right? Like, I don't think
Bud in lockstep here. I was surprised.
I don't think you can win like big at Wake, and I don't think you can win big at Kansas. So you might as well go get paid. And Northwestern can pay a lot more money than Wake or Kansas due to the sort of the, if you want to. I don't necessarily like the Big Two language, but it's definitely used by coaches I talk to. So like it's not going to get. That's not going away. I think if you're Clawson, there's real fear, not for him, but I think he should have fear that the ACC falls apart, right? And if you can go secure like a 10-year, $100 million contract at Northwestern, I mean, hey, there's a lot of good spots to live in Chicago, right? So that's not a bad look. There's no evidence you can win long-term at Kansas. I mean, honestly, Northwestern's been a pretty bad program for the vast majority of like the color TV era, right?
History, yes.
Yeah. So, if you get there's no pressure there though. So like you're making a bunch of money. I think who doesn't take it is a guy that's like, I'm going to job jump off this, right? Like I talked to a couple of coaches, texted around, like, it's a great job because you're going to get rich. It's like generational, family changing money, but they treat it as a job, not as like a stepping stone opportunity. Because the odds are that you don't get promoted out of there.
I will say, you're right. This job is attractive on the assumption that you will get rich. I question how financially involved Northwestern's boosters will be going forward.
So you've heard the same comments about like that. Yeah.
But I mean, the faucets are about to like start to drip instead of flow
from the Big Two guys. Yeah, that was the rumor that was going around. If you talk to like coaches and agents and stuff.
Mm-hmm,
but those guys tend to come back. They do. They're like, all right, like they get pissed for a little while, the AD, and then for the most part, they don't hold the grudges forever.
But this grudge is like all the way at the university president, right?
Mm-hmm. So I honestly, I don't. They might come back. There might be a new president. There might be a new AD in charge by the time they do. But like you just look at what's happened. Like they just built the athletic facility a few years ago. They've been proposing like a stadium coming up for like an $800 million stadium. That I feel it's not dead in the water, but I feel like that took a serious blow, those plans this week. And I think that some of the boosters who have been big time financial supporters of this program were very, very attached to Pat Fitzgerald. And I don't know how excited they're going to be. And also like the current leadership that's in charge, I don't know how excited they are to be paying a college football coach the going rate to be a Big Ten football coach right now.
Do you think the Big Ten lets that happen? Like, do you really think the Big Ten like lets one of its crap teams just say, hey, like you can go super cheap and not even try at all. Like I feel like if you're
Yeah.
making that kind of money, they're going to say you need to spend this.
I don't know.
It's Northwestern. It's a private school. I mean, it's.
Do you think the
don't know.
stadium happens?
Not
Because
right now. No.
yeah, I've kind of heard some stuff there that like, I don't know. There's some skepticism from some folks about the stadium actually getting done.
Yeah, I get. I'll just say I get. We've talked about it. I get Cal vibes from Northwestern right now.
How much do they care about playing the game? Like they are contractually locked in. They're not gonna get left behind. They've already got their ticket, but trying to play keep up is
like they will pay a competitive rate because, like you're saying, but they kind of have to when you're bringing in that kind of money. It's just if you're
Are they
looking
paying $10 million for an established head coach per year?
No, I think they're going to go. Again, I'm using air quotes for people who aren't watching. They're going to go cheap on the football salary, which will probably be $5-6 million. So somebody will still take it. It's just I don't think you're going to get an established.
All right, I'll say something crazy. I think every coach in the Big Ten within the next 3 years will be making at least $8 million.
except for Northwestern.
Like especially because they don't have to release the salary. Like,
so they don't have to get embarrassed by the pointing at where it looks on the database and everybody doing that in terms of like there's sometimes they use that to hide money, like when you're paying somebody way more. The tax returns come back with one thing, but you found all these other ways to be able to make the total compensation a lot more. I would be wary of it. It would be it is going to be a great job. It's going to attract a lot of names, but that's interesting to think that the relationships right now with some of those big money donors, it's gotten a little bit prickly.
What's Matt Campbell's salary?
Somewhere in that.
Now Matt Campbell, that would be a nice jump for him.
See, I've seen his name mentioned. I don't think that's out of play.
Yeah.
He feels like he's kind of tapped out. He is on a 6-year, $22.5 million deal that he signed in.
The reputation there is that they don't cheat in recruiting and that
Mm-hmm.
he does not want to engage in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think he would be a
there are
fit
certain
for a
jobs where you
cultural.
have to like be a line stepper if you want to win. Northwestern, I don't think requires you to be a line stepper.
Yeah, no, I think Matt Campbell is very much in a similar vein as what Pat Fitzgerald was doing. Except, without the nude stuff.
Sorry. Another thing I want to ask about this job is what is my transfer portal situation? Right? All 6 of the transfers they took, I believe, are grad transfers. Like Northwestern was fighting for like guys that Louisiana Tech and Texas State wanted on the defensive line. Okay, like they're bottom of the barrel type stuff. They have a really hard time taking undergraduate transfers. A lot of these schools, like I'm not going to name it because but like there's a school out there that will only take 60 credit hours if you're an underclassman. So if you have 3 years in school already, if you're coming there, they really can't take you because a lot of your credits that you've had relative to your eligibility, you're not going to get credit for them there, right? So it's either take really young guys or take graduates only. That's a hindrance to winning in today's college football. Like I'd want to know about the transfer thing. Can I get some exemptions on that? What about NIL? I mean, I'm not expecting that we're going to drop bags on every kid, but like if I had the opportunity to bag a really top end quarterback who's a great student, can we do it? Like, do we have the ability to go give a stud quarterback $1 million a year? Like if I somehow Northwestern got in on a 5-star, like they got in on Skronsky, right? The 5-star tackle 4 or 5 years ago now. Is that a possibility? If I can do my job as a coach and I get this kid interested enough in Northwestern, can we make sure the money's right to where he doesn't just go to a school that's going to pay him? Those are questions you have to ask.
Questions that that new leadership is going to have to try to sell when they go out there to try to attract a candidate for 2024 and beyond.